Hey guys, what's up, man? How are you? Mike Gross here, rockingguitarlessons.com. And you know, one of the cool things about starting this channel, because as of today it's in the eighth month range, is you guys have some interesting questions sometimes. And yeah, this channel is 99% lessons, but I like to give you guys answers to your questions sometimes. So sometimes I feel, you know what, let's just go ahead and do a tutorial on it. And I've had several of you, and there's different questions. This one it's pertaining to one thing that a few of you guys have asked about, and it's what bands have I been in, like what style and when did I start and all that. So basically this one is, the bands I've been in since I first started playing back in 1982. So I'm going to tell you, and I'll just tell you a tiny little bit about each one. Some are funny. I got some funny memories. When you guys, if you haven't been in a band yet, you'll see. If you have, you probably can relate to me. My first bands were some of my funnest. And I think part of that is, as a musician, everything's new. You're grabbing all these different concepts. I'm still learning to this day, you guys, and I still will. But I've got my foundation built. There's no doubt about it, as long as I've been playing. But there's always room to get better. You guys know that, or you wouldn't be here. And I'm one of you guys. I'm a music teacher, and love it. So anyways, my first band was in 1982. I hope I might be off by a year on some of these, but I think I'm right on this. And we were called Grim Reaper. I don't think the other band, Grim Reaper, we knew about at the time, or we wouldn't have used that name. Maybe they were getting ready to come out, and subconsciously my cousin Chuck, who's the singer, mentioned it. But regardless, that was my first official band was Grim Reaper. And remember the band Grim Reaper, See You in Hell, all that stuff? I think that was probably around 84, 85. But I'm sure they were a band before we were. And they were definitely 10 years older than us, at least. But, so yeah, if you want to call it a band, it was Grim Reaper. And the style was called noise rock. Just kidding. It was pretty bad, you guys. It was bad. I wish I had some cassette recordings of it. We were horrible. It was me and my cousin. My cousin was a singer. And then we had this drummer, Robert Hartzell, I think, or Hartel, or something like that. And we used to practice in this he had a really big backyard where he lived, and it was like this beat up shed, man, with tools and stuff everywhere. It was like we thought it was the coolest thing in the world, man. But now that I'm an adult, if I had that on my property, I'd be like trying to find a way to knock it down. But that's where I came up with some of my first guitar riffs, and things that I ended up using in bands later, believe it or not. But I wasn't a very good guitar. I just started. So from that band, there was a band called Violation that I formed with my cousin Charlie and my second cousin Tim Sage, and this guy Les, can't remember his last name right now, and David on bass. And I remember David so well. It was Charlie's friend initially, and he always had a Rat shirt on, and Rat and Roll or something, and Quiet Riot. I had a Scorpion shirt, had a red bandana tied around my leg, and a Marine hat. Pretty ridiculous. My second cousin Tim Sage was the other guitar player. He actually, because we had videoed stuff back then, our drummer's family, they had a lot of money. So back in, I'd say this was 83, we would do stayovers, man, on the weekend. His parents would take off. Talk about party time, man. I mean, we'd be up, a whole day, man. Wouldn't sleep at all. Playing music into the night. No one ever complained. Unbelievable. We'd sleep out with our equipment in our drummer's backyard. He had a big yard. And lay at the stars and just talk about our music dreams and all that stuff. And my second cousin, Les, the drummer, had actually videoed this stuff back in the day. I remember, and I hope this stuff don't bore you, but you guys have asked, so if it's not something you're interested in, go to one of my lessons. But have some cool memories. I remember Dio, Holy Diver, had just come out, and obviously this was the 80s with Rat and Dokken and all that. And he had a 2-story house, so we pretended we were rock stars, man, and we would have Dio playing in the background, and we would have our guitars, and Charlie would be acting like he's singing, like doing the Klaus Meine moves, some Scorpions, the sideways jump. You guys that know the Scorps know what I'm talking about. He did this crazy thing and held the microphone weird. And we would jump off because it was a 2-story house, we would jump off from the stairs and slide down the rail with our guitars. And Les's, and this isn't Les, Mick Mars' son, you know, my best buddy Les. This is a different Les, before I met Les. Met Les shortly after this, Mick Mars' son. But the drummer's brother, I forget his name, but he would record us. He was going to be part of, when we made it famous, he would be our video recorder, you know. And the video camera was like this, man. It was like a freaking, I don't know, man, something you'd find at 24 Hour Fitness. It was huge. But, or, you know, working on your car, piece of your motor fall out, that's how big this camera was. Well, I wound up with the VHS copy of that stuff, you know. And lost it, I think, when I was like 18 or something. But Tim Sage wound up with it, my second cousin, and he put it all onto DVD for us. And it is hilarious. And if I can find a way to post it on this channel, as humiliating and embarrassing and silly as it is, I will do it for you guys. We played Rock You Like a Hurricane, Let's Get Crazy from Quiet Riot, and Wipeout. I think that was our 3 songs that we did over and over and over, man. And Living After Midnight from Judas Priest. I'm talking, and a little bit of Breaking the Law. But that was about it for us, man. We would spend numerous hours just playing those same songs over and over, and working on our moves, you know, and all that stuff. So if I can find a way to post it, I will. Let's move on to the next one. That was the Violation Band there. The next one was Antioch, and this was when I was about, we probably formed when I was almost 15 years old. It was me, my cousin Charlie, initially a guy named Kurt Moscow, who played bass for us. We used to practice in his backyard. He had a big round, we called it the round room, but it was a water tower, one of those big circle things that was just hollowed out. So it had all this natural reverb, too much reverb, but it was cool. Kurt was with us for a short time, and then we had a drummer named Dave Felder, amazing drummer, that my cousin put an ad in Musicland, its music store where we lived, and Dave replied to it. And man, we were fortunate, because Dave to this day is an amazing drummer, and he was an amazing drummer then. And I think I owe Dave some credit for, you know, he helped me with timing, because he was just that good of a drummer. You know, when you play with a good drummer, I was kind of spoiled. He says he was spoiled playing with me. I feel the same way, Dave. Because then you're comparing that to everybody after, and it never quite matches up, you know. So anyways, Les, Mick Mars' son, who's like my best friend in the world, when Kurt Moscow was our bass player, I had met him because Les lived the street behind Kurt, and he would come around because he knew Kurt, and we were like, man, this guy, you know, he's a cool guy, we need to give him a job, this and that, in the band. So he was called the pedal pusher, and so was my friend Dan Perry. But Les was the official pedal pusher, man. He, on my pedal board, because Mick, his dad, would always send him stuff out, so Les would bring it. Hey Mike, here you go, man. There'd be like 6 effect pedals, and Les knew every part in the song of where to hit it, when, you know, and turn this one off, turn this one on, turn these 3 on. It's all, and we understood what a noise gate was shortly after that. Shortly after that, Les joined the band. And Les, if you guys have been following me, you know he's Mick Mars' son from Motley Crue. Good bass player, man. Super solid. Very good. Good guitar player too. Solid drummer. So that band, you know, we were getting older. You know, I was in that band probably from 15 to 18, maybe, something like that. That was when I went in the recording studio for the first time with that band, and it was that lineup: me, Charlie, Dave, and Les. And we were ready to take over the world, man. And we were starting to become better players and more polished, and you know, it was Dokken, Dream Warriors, like the time that was out, you know. And I was a huge George Lynch fan, I still am, so you can hear a lot of that in my playing then. I started to develop my style, but it was, you know, traces of other guitar players, obviously, sometimes a little too much. So we played a lot of shows, man. We played through Hollywood. You know, we were a Christian metal band, and we played all through Southern California. Les's dad, Mick Mars from Motley Crue, he came out to one of our shows in Hollywood, took us for a cruise in his limo, and stayed for the whole show. I think Girls, Girls, Girls was out at that point from Motley. So that band kind of, as we got older, I know my cousin Charlie got married and blah, blah, blah. Just things happened. We ended up, a friend of mine, Keith Miles, who was with Holy Riot, he told us about this singer that was in a band called Spectra. His name's Marty. And he ended up joining as our singer. We called the band Rags to Riches. At that point, Guns N' Roses was becoming the new thing. This more blues element coming in, you know. Georgia Satellites were out, those bands. So that band didn't stay together for a long time. I think we only played 1 or 2 places, maybe 2. And from there, we recorded, but it was just on a 4-track. I have copies of that, and it, woo! Man, we tried to put 50 tracks onto a 4-track, ping-ponging and bouncing, and it sounded insane. It was ridiculous. It's funny. But those are amazingly fun times for me as a musician. Not that they aren't now, but, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. You've been playing for a while. From that band, I went to, I think I just got married shortly after that. When I was 19, I got married. So that would have been, well, got married in a long time, and you got to think about it. 1990, February of 1990. I was 19 years old, and my parents had moved, so I had to be out of my house. That's where I joined the workforce, man. Did some construction for a while, but I was working for the Press Enterprise, the newspaper. My dad got me this job before he transferred up north. My dad was a heavy equipment mechanic, you know, worked on fire trucks, worked for the fire department and stuff. He got me a job at the Press Enterprise driving the delivery vans. And when the kids would cancel their paper route or this or that, you know, it was graveyard shift, we'd have to go, you know, take the kids' paper route. Well, we didn't like doing that. I got one of my friends from high school, Mike Begovic, amazing guitar player, one of my #1 inspirations, from Yugoslavia. And I got him a job there. He was on the night shift with me. And we got in a lot of trouble, man. We were burning out in these Press Enterprise vans when it would rain in the puddles and be racing around. We weren't doing our job. Here I am, you know, married, or my wedding date was right around the corner. And the end of that job came pretty quick when me and Mike someone had canceled a few paper routes. The kid was sick or something. And me and Mike had been getting away with this stuff for a while. We would take bundles of these papers and toss them into dumpsters behind pizza places and stuff. You know, not thinking, someone may see this and call the Press Enterprise and say, hey, what's up? Well, that's exactly what happened. This time we got caught. Plus people calling in saying, we never got our paper. And they track it to my route and my buddy Mike's route. And he said, man, we were getting like thousands of papers in our dumpsters. And they traced it to our zone. And, you know, so I got fired. Only job I've ever been fired from. And so did Mike. But right after that, I was like, I got to get myself together, man. My parents moved. I have no money. At that point, I wasn't in a band, or I was getting ready to join a band, and that's what I'm going to talk about. The next band I was in was called Contagious, and I got the information through the Recycler. Ryan and Mark. It was a 3-piece band, so I ended up joining them. They were good guys, man, and you know, I was quite a bit younger than them, 10 years younger, man, playing with these guys, and about 15, 16 years younger than one of the other guys. But anyways, that was rock stuff, you know, hard rock type music. That's where I kind of learned to grow up in life a little bit. I was getting married and had to pay the bills. And the drummer from that band, Contagious, Ryan, was doing construction at the time, taping and drywall and stuff, so he ended up getting me a job. I sucked at it, man. I tried hard. All I thought about was playing my guitar. I came home so tired sometimes that I didn't even get to play my guitar. And I went from that construction to different types of construction because Mark was a roofer, so I ended up doing roofing for a little while. And talk about some hard work, man. Fingers just aching, my back aching, and really, my guitar was just a memory at that point because I wasn't able to play much. Although I was in Contagious, the band. That band kind of did a split off, and I went with Mark, the bass player, and we formed a band called Messenger. And Messenger was kind of like a mix of a band called Extreme and King's X. It's the first band where I kind of started stepping up and singing. I did little bits of harmonies in the past. I was always afraid to step up and sing for some reason. I knew I could sing, but I don't know, intimidated, shy. So me and Mark kind of shared the vocals in that band. We had a few different drummers come in and out, and fun band though. From there, that band split up, and I joined a band called King's Tribe for a short time. Todd Chisholm, who's now the owner of PatioShoppers.com, he's the one that pointed me in this direction. And this is back, King's Tribe was probably 1992, something like that. But Todd is now the owner of PatioShoppers.com. He's the one that pointed me in this direction of doing the online, making a website, doing the YouTube lessons, all that stuff. And Todd, I'm so grateful. If you ever need patio stuff, go to PatioShoppers.com. Todd Chisholm, man, he's been on Yard Crashers and all those shows. Good guy, and I feel indebted to you for pointing me in this direction, because I probably wouldn't have went, but I ended up making a leap of faith, and I'm thankful that I did. So that was King's Tribe. We were just kind of a hard rock band, kind of like a mix of Tesla, Guardian, that type of thing, Warrant. From there, I joined a band called Stratia, which also became a band called Scarlet Thread. We changed the name. And that was a progressive rock metal band that I was in. And these cats were, quite a bit older than me too, but they were all really good players. A lot of odd time stuff that we played. When it was Stratia, Russell was singing, and we had background vocals and stuff. And then I think I'd quit for a while, and then I came back, and the band changed to Scarlet Thread, and then I started becoming the main singer in the band, and nothing against Russell, because Russell is a one-of-a-kind amazing singer with an amazing range. He's got like a Steve Perry type range. He's awesome. But the music style, we were wanting to go a different direction. And, grunge had already been in at this point. It's 1994, Nirvana took over, Not that we were playing Nirvana style. We were still doing our stuff, but kind of had almost a Foo Fighters approach to it. I don't know. So from that band, after that band ended, and like I said, I was singing when it became Scarlet Thread. I was probably till 1995, maybe 96. Then I started a band called Colorblind with my good friend Gene Thorpes, amazing funk bass player. And James was our drummer. We had Sky on flute. Patrick, who was an amazing soul funk singer. Rana on keyboards. My wife Jolene singing with us, and we did funk, R&B, Latin, rock. We mixed a lot of stuff up in that band, and I was pretty much the lead singer. When my wife would sing some, this guy Patrick came in, who just blew me out of the water. I mean, he was with us for a short time, but that was a cool experience because I was expanding in a different direction, outside of just playing hard rock or whatever, or metal, or I love everything, man. There's not a style I can't appreciate. I'm like a kid in a candy store when it comes to music. From that band was a couple of years. We played a few shows, and then I met Craig Goldie, who was Ronnie James Dio's guitar player. He also played with Jafria. That band never really got a start. We had started working on stuff. And I wish I had copies of it. Me and Craig had some cool stuff going. They were just really ideas and concepts. We talked about, getting the right singer and doing some stuff. That that didn't last long, man. Maybe 6 months. From there, I started the Velma Fix, which was probably my most joyous band, but my band that a lot of bad stuff too during that time with the Velma Fix, playing the club scenes and trying to make it with that band. And my concept was to start with what's going on in the current music scene, which is this poppy-ish punk thing, but get the musicianship to where we branch it out, kind of like the Beatles did. They start with the simple element, and then boom, they just open it up. And we started to do that. That band lasted about 4 years. We've been on compilation CDs, magazine write-ups, played the whole circuit, man. The Roxy and the Viper Room and the Knitting Factory, just all over Southern California. It was a really fun band, and I was the lead singer in that. My other best buddy Mondo was sharing the vocals with me, and I call him my musical soul brother to this day, because whether it's guitar, singing, songwriting, harmonizing, we're right there with each other. It's just ball and glove fit. I love Mondo. And then we had Doc on bass, and a lot of drummers, but our best drummer was Tom Varga. From there, that was kind of the end of like the major band thing for me. It was around 2004 or 5. I did some little side things with Juan Nelson, who was Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals bass player. He did a solo CD. I don't know if he ever finished it, but I got all of those songs that we worked on, and that was like rock, funk type stuff. And from there, there's a Christian soul, amazing, legendary singer named Brian Duncan. Me and Juan joined up a band with him called Brian Duncan and the Sugar Caddies, and that was R&B in your face, man. It was just funk with a touch of rock. So that's my history, guys, from 1982 up to now. As far as what 2013 is going to bring, I keep telling my wife it's going to be a turnaround year in a lot of ways, and that remains to be seen. But I have a vision, and there's some things in the working, and I'm just not going to prematurely speak anything. But that's it. This is a long tutorial, but I hope I answered some of your guys' questions. Some of the funnest experiences in my life have been playing in bands and jamming with people and getting out there and playing. So if you have fears and you're intimidated, you know, what are people going to think, this and that, that goes out the window, man. For me, because I'm naturally a shy guy, believe it or not, you notice every time you see me, I got a guitar, you know, and I'm comfortable talking. You know, I'm a grown man now and stuff, and I've been teaching privately for 20 plus years. But it has been with me that long. It's like it goes everywhere with me. It's always in front of me, man. For the most part, it's who I am. And you take this from me, I'm a real sad guy. So, anyways, thanks, guys. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Once I get the youtube.com/the mic is on for you channel, get some stuff, because there'll be more stuff like this on there. But I wanted to occasionally just throw stuff like this on this channel for you guys that have asked me certain questions. I figured, you know what, let's do it. So I did it. Keep your requests coming. I appreciate it. I'll get these songs. I'll work my hardest to get them the best for you, the way these bands are playing them. And if you're interested in Skype lessons, my Skype name's Rockin' Guitar Lessons. Add me. My email's rockingguitarlessons@hotmail.com. And that's it, guys. So have fun with music. Subgroup it. Take your time. And if you were to ask me what my best advice would be for you guys, it's an easy one for me. A lot of people will be like, well, I don't know. Everyone's different. To me, it's easy. It's be open-minded to music. Don't just like the flavor of the week. There's nothing wrong with liking that if you like it. But be open-minded as a musician. There's so much out there, man. Jazz and funk and classical, blues and R&B, all of that, country. This is an instrument that doesn't have to be designated to just one style of music. And when you designate it to just one style of music, sometimes it's not as fulfilling because you feel like you've done it all, you know. It's like, what's new? You know, that's why I like Dream Theater so much. They mix everything. All right, I'm going to stop blabbing. I got to go do some more lessons now. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Watch for my website, because by the time you see this, it's probably up. rockingguitarlessons.com. $25 a month is all it costs to join. I hope you guys do join. I really do. And until next time, I'm Mike Gross, rockingguitarlessons.com. Signing out. See ya.